Binge eating is obviously an unhealthy relationship with food. Now, I'm going to digress just a moment because most of us at some time or another have, let's say, a little bit too much to eat, let's say on Christmas dinner or on Thanksgiving. That's not binge eating. That's just called the human condition. What binge eating entails is overeating, eating tremendously huge amounts of food, and generally it's done in secret because the person who is binge eating is usually embarrassed about it. They want to keep it quiet. They don't want other people to know they're doing it, and they feel guilty, they feel ashamed, they feel just generally awful because of this pattern of behavior they've developed of binge eating. Now, it can be tremendous amounts of all kinds of food, or it could just be one food. The point is, if a person eats rapidly, as one of my clients once said, gorges themselves in the privacy of their own home and secretly, and nobody knows about it, and they're trying to keep it on the QT, then that's a problem, especially when they start to feel like they're out of control. Now, one lady who had a couple of health issues that were pretty serious had developed a habit that she called gorging on candy. But it wasn't just one kind of candy, it was all kinds of candy. So she would overeat and stuff herself to the point of just being totally miserable. Now, she needed to get rid of some weight because it was affecting her health. So she decided that what she needed to do was get some assistance with this. So when we spoke, what she told me she did is the way she started to binge eat, which wasn't every day, this is periodic, but it was a continual automated habit that she planned for. She would wake up, let's say in the morning, or she'd just be alone during the day, and she'd think of this candy, and she would make this big, huge color image of all kinds of candy, every color, shape, and size, and she would just focus on all the candy. And then what she would do is she would go out and she would buy copious quantities of candy, and she would sit down and very rapidly and very quickly she would stuff the candy. She would, as she said, gorge herself on the candy. Now, obviously it was bad for her health. It's bad for anyone's health, but in her case it was more serious. So one of the things that we did, the other thing that she did was she would go, ooh, I just imagine that taste, that candy's going to taste so good, it's just so great. So that was a great strategy for binge eating. So what we suggested to her, which is a very useful and productive, valuable strategy to use, is that we took that image that she was seeing and we just simply shrunk the image down, and we just made it so dim that she couldn't even see it anymore, of course. And then, of course, she just shot it off into the distance where it didn't even exist at all. And then we suggested to her to change the way she talked to herself. Change her thoughts. Instead of saying, ooh, candy, I'm going to gorge myself and eat all this candy, just stop and say to herself, you know what? I want to feel good. I want to be healthy. I want to live a long time. Therefore, because binge eating can be very, very detrimental to one's health, she decided that she would change the way she talked to herself. And as I've said many times before, change your thoughts and you change the way you feel. Change your language and you will totally change your whole life. If you would like to have some help with this, any type of assistance, we'll be happy to give you the assistance that you desire, and so that you can find a time when you can look forward into the future and see what your life is going to be like when this habit is over and done with, and you have a sense of freedom and a sense that you can choose. You can choose the patterns that you have, the behaviors that you have, so that they're useful, productive, valuable, and you can have a life full of freedom and flexibility.